welcome back. I hope you've had a great day and you're in the need of something to bore you to death. Because if I got something for you, check it out.
Just to give you a little bit of a heads up as to why my season starts off a little bit slower than yours. I don't know if you can see all the way out there, but we still got some snow in the hills. So I move a little bit slower than y'all do when springtime comes. We still got some snow up here on the hill right in front of my house. So anyway, today is, however, a beautiful sunny day, and I'm going to get into it. So if you'll sit right back and enjoy, hopefully, I might be able to show you something cool. Or just waste your time and keep you from doing other stupid things that you really probably didn't want to do anyway. Hey, the sun came out, which means that I can show you kind of almost what this looks like. Although not really, because it's pretty high up there. But you can see there's no holograms, no swirls, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Well, today I've got emblems to take off. Pull these off, get the glue off, take some acetone to the surface. And one thing I'd like to point out, I don't know how easy it is to see, but in between the letters, above the letters, you notice there's some dark bands, or at least darker. And the reason for that is the sunlight not only hits this, but it bounces back up, so it whitens up the gel coat right above these. Another reason that extruded emblems on the outside of a gel-coated boat might not be the best, future plan for the resale value of a boat down the road. So if you have these and it's a brand new boat or it's painted, by all means keep them. They look good. I admit they look good. Spiders do enjoy sleeping in there and making a mess, but if you can keep your boat clean, you can deal with that. Anyway, yeah, I'm moving kind of slow. Again, we've got some snow, so it's kind of chilly today, as it is for the last couple months. But I'm here, the boat's here, the sun's here, which means that I can do everything that I need to. Oh, one last thing. Now that I'm here, I just realized I talk about this boat a lot. This boat here was done a bunch of times, little test spots. You can see where I got the white bands. That's obviously places that hasn't been done. This section down here, this white part, nothing was put on this. Not a spray wax, not anything for over 3 years. So I know everyone thinks that it's gonna fade out, but if it was gonna fade out, it would look like this. And it doesn't. It looks like that. That's just me tooting my own horn and reminding people that, this stuff, this thing that I'm doing here, the thing that I'm showing you here, it works. It works really, really well. Anyway, I'm just dawdling. I'm just kind of wasting time before I get motivated to do this. And by motivated, I've got a Red Bull that I'm going to pound, and I'll get back into this. So, welcome back to it. Get ready, get a drink, grab some popcorn. We're gonna grind some gel coat and take care of some emblems. I'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back, boat sluts. Here we go. Let's see. So for these emblems, if you haven't seen this before, I am using 80-pound braided fishing line. The C and the L pulled off because they were old. But here's how this goes. So take your line, get it behind an edge or a corner of one of your emblems, and just kind of saw back and forth. And in particular, the sawing motion with the braided line works really well. It's very aggressive, but the line is softer than the gel coat, so it won't scratch the boat. This is also the way you would do this on a car. I don't know if, I'm sure this would be safe on paint, as long as you're not too crazy about it. So I tie the 80-pound test to 2 objects so that I have a little bit of leverage when I'm yanking back and forth. Otherwise, you'll, burn a cut right through your hand or finger if you try to do this by hand. So anyway, it's fairly simple and straightforward. I don't know if you need to watch all the rest of these letters come off. If you do, great. Hang out for just a second. I'll probably get one P off just so you can see what that's like. Now, if you wanted to, you could just throw these emblems away. They're just plastic and they don't really add to the retail value of the boat. But some people like them. You can take these home, clean off the double-sided sticky tape on the back, take a grinder or a steel wool wheel, even a sandpaper flappy paddle, just to take off the junk on the back, take some acetone, clean them really well, and you can put some glue back on, and if you want, you can reposition them. Obviously, if you know anything about me, I don't suggest that you do that, but it is, it's an option. I prefer just to pull them off. If you absolutely have to have a decal or the emblem replaced, replace it with a custom decal. You can find these or order them on Etsy. You can find them on eBay. You can find them all over the place. People out there with printers are able to make some pretty neat stuff. And sometimes companies get licenses to make emblems for, Ford, Chevy, stuff like that, but they're cooler. In other words, they've got LED lights or whatever on them, so there are other options. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put you on pause. When I come back, I'll take some acetone and we'll clean this up. I got to scrape with a razor blade all this gooey stuff off. Sometimes you can take a heat gun, you can take an eraser wheel, if you want to Google that, eraser wheel for like a drill, and it'll just pull all this stuff off, but you'll still have some goo behind, and that's what the acetone's for. So again, I'm going to put you on pause. I'll come back when I'm taking this adhesive off. Although I thought about it, and now that I've thought about it, maybe I'll just put it on hyperlapse so that you can still see it, but it goes really, really fast. How's that? 1 second. All right, now that we've got the... sorry, didn't mean to kick you. Now that we've got the emblems off, we just have to get this glue off. So I like to use a scraper because it saves my thumb a little bit of undue stress. In this case, I'm using a plastic razor blade just to see if it'll work. I actually don't know if it will. Sometimes it doesn't. So this one looks like it's just kind of pushing it around, but once you get the right angle, all of a sudden, it's good enough. And it's not really scratching the boat. And whatever scratches this does put in the boat, I can obviously take off with the compound and the buffer. So you just do this boring crap for, an hour of your life. All the while knowing that sunlight is fading and the rain or snow is coming. That's it, guys. You just do that. This is going to take me quite a while. I'll tell you what. I might put you on hyperlapse in case you're bored enough to want to watch this. I doubt you are. If, however, you want to see it, you'll be able to see it. After that, I'll take some acetone on a rag. We'll clean this up, and then we'll get to town with some Superduty, some heavy cut, and some Perfect-It, and blend this back corner into the rest of the boat. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll put you on hyperlapse. All right, so I cut out a little bit in the middle because I thought to myself, this is boring as crap, just the first couple letters. So you having to watch, I'm just trying to protect you guys, that's all. All right, well, now we've got all the goo, the sticky double-sided tape gone. The next step is to do our best to get down to fresh gel coat. But as you'll see, there is some gunk on the surface of the boat. So I'm just going to take a little bit of acetone, nothing special. Now, I should tell you that you should wear gloves when doing this. And you should probably use a respirator and don't do it in a closed space. And there's a lot of stuff you should do and shouldn't do with chemicals. You do you. I do what works for me. So, realistically, it's an easier job if you use a white terry cloth towel for two reasons. One, microfiber towels are made of nylon, which is a plastic. And if you've seen how acetone deals with plastic, you know that slowly this stuff is breaking down in my fingers. Not so fast that I can't use it, but the terry cloth towel has a resilience to it and a texture to it that seems to pick up a little bit more the glue. Why I'm using a microfiber towel is because this one is dirty and trash and it was in the bottom of my truck, and I'm not going to use it for anything boat related polishing just because I can't trust it. It might have a piece of sand in it, it might have some weird oil. I just won't use it once it's gotten dirty. And no, I don't wash them. I throw them away after they've lived their life. Now, I do that. That doesn't mean that you guys have to. If you're using the microfiber towel and it gets dirty, you can wash these. They don't necessarily absorb as much wax as a clean one, like a fresh one. So I find if I'm using it to pull oils off of a boat or pull off wax, they just don't quite grab as much off as they used to. So for me, they're cheap enough. I go to Costco, I get the Kirkland brand. You get 36 of these for $17, which, I mean, if you go to Home Depot or Target or even Walmart, you might be able to get 4 or 5 microfiber towels for 16 bucks, but they're really cheap, they're really thin, they don't last very long, and they're just, it's not a good product comparatively as the Costco microfiber towels. So if you have a chance, get the microfiber towels from Costco. They're cheap enough where once they've been overused, you can just replace them. If you do want to save them and run them through the washer, they make great shop towels. It's one of the reasons I keep one in the bottom of the truck, is just in case my hands get something on them. I've always got something to wipe them off. Or on occasion, you need to blow your nose in the middle of traffic and you don't have a Kleenex. I've got tons of these just laying around the car, so you know, on occasion I might use a microfiber rag to blow my nose. Don't judge. Anyway, you definitely do want to get at least 90% of the goo off, because compound on a wheel kind of acts like a cast saw. In other words, the cast saw, if you've ever broken your arm or your leg and you got a cast, when they take it off, it's a reciprocating toothed blade that just kind of wiggles back and forth. When it hits your skin, it's not going to go through your skin because it's just wiggling. When it hits something hard, it has that resistance and it can cut into the cast. A buffer going over glue sometimes can grab it, but sometimes because it's soft, it just kind of smears it and rolls over it. And then what you'll get is an area of oxidation underneath where glue was that you didn't see because you just thought it was glue and you could wipe it off. Well, you can, but underneath there is oxidation, so now you got to recompound everything. A little bit of residual adhesive, especially since we're going to be using Superduty, really isn't a challenge. It's not really a speed bump for a buffer, a white wool pad, and a good compound. It'll usually get through, actually, in truth, it probably would have gotten through almost everything that I just wiped off. But since you guys are here to learn how to do this, I guess, the right way, sorry. But since you guys are trying to I just caught I think a bee in my mouth. Didn't sting me, but it was a mouthful, so I apologize. Anyway, the compound, Superduty, especially in wool pad, would have gotten through this. Most of it, I'm pretty sure. But like I said, because I'm trying to show you guys the right way to do this, if this is your boat and this is the first time you're doing it, you want to try to get as much of this off as you can. You might notice, like here, above the C, below the C, and below the H, there's a little bit of stuff there. That isn't adhesive, and it's not wax or compound. What it is over the life of this boat, hard water has settled there. It's not going to come off with acetone no matter how much I rub it. Superduty, on the other hand, will eat right through that. So I've got a little bit of goo right here left. I'm going to take that off next time you see me. A little bit of compounding. Let's go. All right, well, I've already cleaned out my pad, so it's a good time for you to clean out your pad. If you haven't figured out how to do that, mount your wheel on the old bufferoo, spin it up, lock the speed, take your spur tool, and just kind of walk it from the inside out. You don't put any pressure on it. The weight of the thing is enough. You just walk it from the inside to the outside to the in. Give it the old back and forth, flip it over. Because the wheel's spinning the opposite direction, you can't hold it the same way because it'll roll into your wrist, break your wrist, hurt your fingers underneath holding the buffer. So you hold it the opposite way and do the same thing. Inside out, outside in, inside out, outside in. Then you get what, affectionately is known as a clean buffer wheel. Cool? Cool. All right, you might have some wind noise. I don't care. Here's Superduty. It's very, very aggressive. So all in the description. Ta-da! So you don't have to ask me about it. Now, make sure your wheel's going slow because you don't want to throw this stuff everywhere. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to spread it out. That was easy. Now I'm going to do a little cross-cutting. Cross-cutting is this. So you see these lines are going like this. Kind of start to the top, curve around the edge. Great. Now, I want lines to go in the other way. So these lines go from the bottom up to the top and curve over. they crisscross, hence the name crisscross. All right. So because this is an area that I'm kind of focusing on, in other words, I really want to get the ghosting of the lettering out, which I can still see through the compound, I'm going to grab a little bit more compound. I'm going to do a little bit more cross-cutting, and we'll, work this until I kind of see the colors matching. I don't particularly need them perfect on this boat, only because the owners agreed to put a decal up. So I've taken measurements. The decal is going to go exactly where the old emblems were. It'll hide the ghosting that's here for the most part, especially since I'm going to go a ½ inch longer and taller than the original emblems, meaning that I'm going to be able to cover even more area so that it won't be so dramatic underneath. But because I'm focusing on this, I'm going to do another pass of Superduty, try to get the color right. If I get the color right, I'll work down here, then I'll blend it in with the heavy cut, and then we'll work on the rest of this, all right? So we have taken off a little teeny bit of boat. And if you'll note, whoops, dripped all over my buffer. So if you notice, the center area didn't get used all that much. So it's telling me that, okay, Mr. Put the compound in the middle, maybe don't do that. Put it on the outside, because that's clearly where you're going to use it. So that's what I will do. This time, one strip, because the wheel's already got some compound in it. So I don't need to oversaturate the pad. I do still have to spread it, which, boom, done. All right, cross-cutting. For your information, the speed increase was from 600 to 800, and I didn't really even like 800. I don't mind this going slow. And I don't think that you guys should mind going slow. Slow works. It's safe. Everybody should stay at about 600, 800 RPMs, no faster unless you're really good. And if you're really good, do whatever you want. But I haven't met too many people who are really good. So, go slow. Spreading, cross-cutting. You know the drill. All right, now I'm going to grab a clean pad. I'm going to wipe this off. I'm going to hit it with a little heavy cut, and we'll see what she looks like. Let me put you on pause. But first things first. So when I said a clean pad, what I meant was one that didn't have Superduty on it. Now this is not a clean pad, so let me show you how this works. I grab what's called a spur tool, in case you want to Google it. It's called a spur tool. Then I throw the speed as high up as I can. This is going to get loud, so watch your ears. I'm going to squeeze the trigger, lock it in so that I don't have to really hold anything down. I'm just manipulating the weight of the buffer. And then I do my little thing that I talked about. Ready? Here's how this goes. Now you might be asking yourself, does that guy hold his breath the entire time? And you gosh dang right I do. I don't want to breathe this any more than I have to. So anyway, clean, fuzzy, soft, great pad. Let's go. Little heavy cut. Again, check the description. I'm not going to say it 2 or 3 more times. I've already shaken it. You're going to want to do that with all of your products, always. I'm remembering that I only used the outside of the pad this time, so I'm just going to use the outside of the pad. But since it is a fresh new pad, I have to add a little bit more compound than I normally would if I was just working this. All right, let's get you back up here. You are so dusty. You don't even know. You don't even know. Super dusty. All right, I don't know what you can see, but just imagine I'm doing a whole area and don't worry about it. All right, here we go. It's the same thing as before. It's just, oh, you know what I forgot to do? You guys, I forgot to wipe that off. Let me go get a microfiber towel. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. And gals, sorry about that, folks. How's that? 2025. Gotta start remembering that. It's hard for an old guy. I sometimes call people the wrong thing, and I can catch that in their eyes they're not happy with it. But I'm like, I'm old. Been saying this to people for like 30, 40 years. You got to cut me some slack a little bit. You know, I try to make everyone happy. I don't know what the point is in light of, I'm not going to talk. Look, this whole year, I'm not going to talk politics. I'm going to try really, really hard not to talk politics. Really hard. Because, damn. But yeah, I'm not going to talk. Anyway, so there's a shine. There's some color. I can still see a little bit of color difference from where the emblems were. The best way, honestly, the best way to fix this is take a little sandpaper, and you'll smooth it out and you'll never see it, and you can go deep enough that you can get the color right. Again, I don't need to get the color perfect. I don't need to get the surface perfect. Knowing that I'm going to put a decal over that helps out a lot. All right, let's get back into the heavy cut. Stop dawdling. Spreading. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's check this out. I can see what it looks like from where I am, but you might only be able to see it once I wipe this off. And you should be working with some bright lights so that you can see what this looks like. Now, in my case, I've got a little bit of sun, and I can use my watch here. I'll try to beam it into your eyes. See how that works? Maybe you can see that, maybe not. Well, anyway, I'm looking for holograms, swirls, anything that is left behind with the buffer. I don't see it, and this is just the second of 3 compounds. And you might be asking yourself, well, geez, that seems like an awful lot of work, blah, blah, blah. I promise you, wet sanding is a lot more work, takes a lot longer, costs a lot more, and it doesn't last any longer than this. Everything you see here is what I do all the time, and quite honestly, if you haven't picked up on the idea of putting fire glaze on a boat and looking at it 2 years later going, what do I do, just wash it? Yes, just wash it. And then put a little spray detailer on there. So I'm guessing you can see this. I'm guessing you are hopefully approving of what the results are. And you can get an idea here. Maybe I'll hold this between my legs, do a little stupid thing like this, and maybe, yeah, okay. So there you go. That's what I do, or I've got, all sorts of things in the background that reflect. As long as it looks nice and tight and I don't see any scratches or swirls or holograms, I'm like, yeah, let's move on. We have one more step. We can make this look even better. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll take the other side of that pad and put some Perfected EXAC on there, which, okay, got that? So let me set up camera again so that you can see without me hiding a bunch of stuff. All right, give me 1 second to flip the pad over. Now you may notice that for the Superduty pad, even though it had a side that was clean, I didn't just flip it over and put the heavy cut on. You can do that. If you've only got one pad, by all means, feel free. Just make sure that you've given that pad enough time to dry out so that when you spur it, the spurring is effective. Spurring a wet pad is, well, not effective, I guess would be the only way I could say that comfortably. Anyway, I'm going to put a little on there. Perfected EXAC spreads out, goes a long ways, so I'm going to use a little bit less than maybe the heavy cut. But the program is the same. Spread it, cross cut, flatten out. So the reason that I can switch over back and forth between Perfected and heavy cut breaks down to about the medium level that Perfected does. So the Perfected that I put on here is actually more aggressive than the heavy cut was just moments ago. After a couple minutes of working it, the molecule, the particle breaks down and gets smaller and smaller. The Perfected EXAC molecule starts about where that one almost finishes. So I'm not cross-contaminating, I'm not scratching anything up. As long as I remember that this is the heavy cut side and this is the Perfected side, I should be okay. Usually it's pretty easy to tell because one side, being more aggressive, takes off more boat. So you look at them and you're like, oh, there's a little bit of blue, but there's a lot more over here. Also, you can just remember. That helps too. Here we go. Yes, I'm talking to my buffer. All right, so here we go with the, I'm gonna move you a little closer. Here we go. Also, when you get really close to an edge like over here, over here, over here, over here, you don't want to force the buffer to try to get all the compound out. You'll just end up burning the boat. So if you have a little bit on the edge, just, you know, stick your finger in the corner and just done. Not too shabby. Cool, cool, cool. That wasn't what you thought it was. Yeah, it was actually. Okay, well, let's take a look at this in some light. Let's see, there you go. On, almost. I'll move back and forth a little bit. This is a lot trickier than most people think. We're good. We're good. All right, so I've got a little bit more to go in this corner, but I've also got some storm clouds coming in. So I'm not sure how much time I've got left, but I'm not going to show it. I'm going to actually put the tripod and the camera away because from this angle I won't be able to tell too soon before it starts raining, and by that time I'll just freak out that my camera and my phone and gimbal and everything are all sitting out, and I really hate getting my buffer wet. I really do. I also wish I had a beer review for you. I thought about it this morning and completely spaced out. So that's on me. But you can see there's a super difference between the two. And they should be easy to blend. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this guy's Gelcoat repair. I think I'm just going to go around it, you know, give him like a 2-inch border and just be like, hey, I don't touch open fiberglass. Blech, gross. But this will be done here in about an hour, and yeah, maybe I'll show it to you when I'm done. Peace.
I took the opportunity to go grab some lunch, and upon my return noticed a real reason to hurry my ass up. That's coming over the hill. It's almost over the top of the boat that I'm working on, and I don't really want to get wet. So this next part that you're going to see is going to be a little bit sped up. If you really need to find out what I did, just watch the video or two that I did right before this, or any of the 300 that come before this. That's right, I said over 300. So if you're curious at all about how to do this, trust me, there's at least a boat in that library that looks like yours, and you could learn things.
So that was Superduty. And if you are able to see my watch, let's see. This way. There we go. All right. So Superduty, if you allow it and you are very cautious about how to use it, can finish fairly swirl free. And the finish isn't bad. It's not great. It's not as good as that, but it's not bad. So I get the question every once in a while, what's the difference between Superduty and heavy cut? Superduty can get this. It'll take a little bit longer and a lot of skill. It's really good at knocking down the ugly edges of Gelcoat and taking off the nastiness. And just use it as a shovel. And then when you get down to the point where you need a spoon, use a spoon, because it's quicker than sitting there with a shovel and trying to perfect everything. So you can do this with Superduty. It's not expected. I very rarely expect a decent finish, especially one like this off of Superduty. It is possible, but it takes probably twice as long to get this with just Superduty as it would if I had just roughed it up with a little super, came back with some heavy cut. Because I use super, I'm still going to come back with some heavy cut and some perfected just to dial in everything. But I wanted to let you know this is possible with Superduty. Okay? All right, put you back over on your stand, and I'll be back in a little bit.
You'll notice that I'm not saying anything. Okay, I just wanted you to notice. Honestly, I was kind of hoping that this would go a lot faster and I wouldn't have to fill this time with any words or anything, but just as a heads up, I'm using heavy cut and then coming back across everything with perfected EXAC to dial everything in and make the sides equal.
All right, well, as one of my good friends, JC Pants, once said, it's gonna rain. And he's right, it's gonna rain. So I'm losing all my light, which means that I really can't see what I'm doing. I'm not going to spend all day with a flashlight. It's springtime, and I already talked about how the weather's kind of doing what it's doing. I work within the weather. That's all I'm saying. All right, well, you can see we polished up his stress cracks. Those look kind of cool. You see the ripples. But I didn't polish up his Gelcoat repair. So, anyway, the finish looks pretty good, I think. I'm not seeing anything that I don't like, and it looks as good as the rest of it. Unfortunately for me, because I'm not going to be finishing this up today, you won't be able to see the last half here. The next step is to finish off the back corner here, and when it dries out again, come back, clean it all off. Hopefully there'll be some more sunshine. Inspect it in bright light. If I like what I see, go ahead and put some waxy wax on there. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy this. I know this sometimes seems like it takes a long time, but if you do it right, then you really only have to do this like once every 5 years if you're good to your boat. If you're lazy to your boat and you don't clean it all the time, you'll have to do this maybe every 2 to 3 years if you use the right wax. I suggest Fireglaze Plus, or if you want to do this every year, you can use Flagship. Sorry, I've got a raven that's been circling me for a couple of months, and I'm trying to get him excited about coming down and eating a hot dog. Don't judge. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. It was good playing with you, and I'm sorry that the weather closed in on us, but if you want, come back tomorrow or the next day or whenever it dries out. I will have this done, and then I'll work on the other side. Probably won't show that to you, but we have a lot of boat to do still. So if you're interested at all in figuring out how to do some of this, I'll be here. Don't hit the notification button. It's not that important, but I wouldn't mind if y'all would subscribe, give a thumbs up, maybe ask a question if you have a question, throw me a comment if you have a comment. Anyway, you can see the progress. We're getting there. It's coming out. Don't worry about it. I'll talk to y'all later.
Now, that wasn't so bad, was it? Thanks.